Truman, why can't we go home? We have met the Russians and we have crossed the Rhine. We are tired of vodka and drinking Moselle wine. We would like to fraternize, but Ike says that's not very wise.
With humble beginnings rooted around the region in Salem, New Jersey, Ellan Levitsky is what some would call a war hero. The daughter of Russian Jewish immigrants born in 1919, Levitsky was the youngest of her parents' 3 girls.
Dorothy wanted to be a social worker. There was no money for college, so my mother decided she'd be a good nurse. So Dorothy went to nursing school. And I always wanted to be a nurse, so I went to nursing school.
Both Ellan and her older sister, Dorothy, trained and worked at hospitals in Philadelphia. Soon after the Levitsky sisters began their careers in nursing, World War II broke out, and the youngest sister felt a call to action.
I never thought about the Army. I never gave it a thought. But I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to go.
Hearing about the need for medical assistance overseas, Levitsky enlisted in the service, but not without bringing Dorothy along too. While the older sister was a bit reluctant to join the Army, Dorothy agreed to go so long as the sisters were never separated, and if she had her job to come home to. The two trained at Fort Meade, Maryland as soldiers, and then at Fort Lee in Virginia as Army nurses. Soon after came the call for duty.
We had an officers club, and there was a big ball. We were in the States then, and we knew nothing about what's going on in Europe. We knew nothing. I mean, they had the big time bands and everything. It was one big party until D-Day.
A notice for overseas duty came in, and the Levitsky sisters were the first among 4 nurses sent out. In August 1944, they boarded the HMS Cynthia British ship headed to Normandy, France. Within 3 days of arriving in France, the two became members of the 164th General Hospital at Beaulieu. Ellan recalls a time with a difficult patient who made quite a memorable impression.
I was giving them the sodium pentothal very quietly and very slowly, and he's counting back from 100, and it was 90, 80, 70. So he got down to the 30s. And I would tell you, I was panicking. I really was panicking. I mean, that's a lethal drug. So he came over and he conked right out. But you'll have to excuse me now. 3 days later, somebody came to the operating room and tell me not to go to the special ward. And I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Well, your patient woke up and he was crazy. He's wild and he's crazy, and he wants to kill the little son of a bitch that put him to sleep."
As the Army was moving east and south, the sisters received orders to head to the Pacific. But after the Japanese surrendered following the bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the sisters were sent back home after a little less than a year overseas. Dorothy began her career at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Ellesmere, where she worked for 28 years. She also got married. Ellan married too, eventually moving to Milford, Delaware, where she worked at the Milford Hospital. In 2004, the sisters joined other World War II veterans, taking trips back to Normandy to commemorate D-Day. They were eventually awarded the French Legion Medal of Honor at the French Embassy in Washington, D.C. And in 2012, a monument was dedicated to the 164th General Hospital with a marker saying "To Eternity" for Lieutenants Dorothy Levitsky and Ellan Levitsky.
There's a picture of me, a picture of Dorothy, a history of Dottie, a history of me, and a history of our hospital. And it'll be there. That's sort of a legacy, and that to me, that almost did me in.
Dorothy Levitsky died in 2015. This year, as world leaders and veterans gathered to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Normandy landings, Ellan was among them, making her first trip back to France since her sister passed. Upon her return to Delaware, Ellan's service was recognized by lawmakers at Legislative Hall in Dover, a legacy and service by 2 World War II heroes and nurses to never be separated or forgotten.
So please, Mr. Truman, why can't we go home? We have captured Berlin and we have captured Rome. We have destroyed the master race, so why is there no shipping space? So please, Mr. Truman, why can't we go home?